This is Mastercaster, taking you from zero to podcasting hero. And now here is your host, Neil Butler.
In the previous episode, we spoke about the steps involved in having your podcast visible and available in a range of podcast stores. Typically, you'll need to have already uploaded at least one episode to your hosting platform before the stores will display your podcast. To upload your first episode, all you need on hand is your edited MP3 file plus any episode-specific artwork and notes you might want to publish. Some podcasters choose to upload different artwork for each episode, maybe a photo of the episode guest, but this is not mandatory. If you choose not to upload episode-specific artwork, the podcast's generic graphic will accompany the episode in the store listing. The episode notes can be as brief or as detailed as you choose. Some podcasters only provide a 1 or 2 sentence summary of the episode content. Others provide a detailed episode outline, including time markers where various sections or guests commence. Whilst it's not mandatory to upload any episode notes, there probably is value in at least providing a brief overview of the episode's content. To upload your episode, log onto your hosting platform and look for the button or tab that allows you to upload your MP3 file. On podcast.co, that button is quite prominent in the top right-hand corner of your dashboard screen. Simply navigate to the MP3 file on your computer and upload the file. Once the file has been successfully uploaded, depending upon the hosting platform you're using, you'll be asked to provide additional information such as episode notes, the episode-specific artwork if you're using it, copyright details, and so on. For most, if not all hosting services, the only thing that's mandatory when uploading an episode is the actual MP3 file. The additional information and artwork is optional, but think about podcasts you've listened to before. I expect that most of them would have more than just the MP3 file. One last feature that most of the hosting services offer is the ability to schedule the future release of each episode into the podcast stores. Unless your podcast is time dependent, for example, you're previewing a weekly sporting fixture, you may choose to record a number of episodes well in advance. By doing this, you are able to keep ahead of your release schedule, meaning that you can have several episodes recorded and sitting in reserve. My advice would be to schedule the release or publication of your podcast episodes at regular times. For example, if yours is a weekly podcast, rather than just having each episode released on a Tuesday, have it scheduled to be released at 10 a.m. every Tuesday. This means that your subscribers and listeners can rely on a new episode at the same time every week, which means that they're far more likely to develop a regular schedule to listen to your podcast. Once your episode has been uploaded and scheduled successfully, you don't have to do anything else. Your RSS feed will be updated by the hosting service, which in turn advises each of the podcast stores that there is a new episode available. This can sometimes take an hour or two before the episode appears in the store. This depends on your hosting service and the podcast store itself. It's worth understanding the concept of subscribing to a podcast at this point. I'll be discussing this in the next episode as well. As I mentioned in episode 2 of Mastercaster, listeners are able to subscribe to your podcast via their favourite podcast store. Whereas a subscription to an online newspaper or magazine involves payment, subscription to a podcast doesn't cost the subscriber anything. If they choose to subscribe to your podcast, they'll have the option to automatically download new episodes onto their mobile device. Given that a listener has chosen to subscribe to your podcast, the process of you uploading that MP3 file onto your hosting platform will kick off a process that will automatically download that episode onto their device and prompt them to listen to it. With this in mind, there's real value in you not only promoting your podcast, but encouraging people to subscribe to it. I'll talk more about that in our next episode.
This has been another episode of Mastercaster. For more information about Mastercaster or the other services provided by Untypical Media, please visit www.mastercaster.co or follow Mastercaster on Facebook and LinkedIn.